My name is Kit. In this video, I wanted to talk about a sort of spiritual experience I had at a guided meditation um, that was based on setting intentions for the year over the blue moon, and it involved drumming and a gong bath and laying on the floor in a yoga mat. And I have had long time chronic illness. I'm in the process of being diagnosed. It's a long process. I've had a lot of diagnoses, a lot. Um, Doctors are pretty happy to give you a diagnosis real quick and then see if that is really true, including Huntington's disease. I was diagnosed with Huntington's disease, and thankfully there is a genetic test for it. It's not in my family, but you can have a very, very rare genetic mutation to have it, and I do not. But at one point, my movements were very bad, and the neurologist looked right at me and said, "You have Huntington's disease." And he was wrong, thankfully. Um, it's a terrible disease. But now it looks more like early onset Parkinson's due to also known exposure from Camp Lejeune. And so I have been dealing with this my entire life. And my entire life, people have told me, get over it. It's not progressive. At least you don't have cancer. I don't believe you. I've really felt like really unbelieved my whole life. I've been complaining about this since like I could talk. And I've really had been dealing with the symptoms, with the pain and the stiffness my whole life, and fatigue. Fatigue is number one. It's the hardest thing. But now I'm dealing with more movement and mobility problems. I have massive gut motility problems with um, digesting is very difficult, and my movements are under control because of keto. That helps me more than anything. My movements at times, especially if I'm just in a bad place, if I'm tired, stressed, can be so extreme, like arms and legs, and a lot of kind of like this sort of stuff. And I'm just making this up right now, like that's not a real movement, but a lot. I still do have like the more primal movements, the first ones I got, which is like pinky out, a lot of this kind of stuff where my fingers go together, this sort of twisting, and that happens in my toes too. Anyways, thinking about actually losing my mobility is everybody's worst nightmare, right? I mean, there are a lot of people who live in that state, and I have not been there yet, and it's really, really, really scary to think about, honestly. And so, okay, so I went to this blue moon meditation. My friend invited me. It was at my yoga studio that I go to all the time. Yoga helps me more than anything as well, except for keto. Well, it's right up there with it. Exercise, yoga, riding my bike. So I'm laying on the floor, and the first thing we do is we're letting go of what we want to let go of. And of course, I'm always so focused on letting go of these symptoms. I just like trying to let it go, let go of the stiffness, let go of the stiffness. And I think it helps. I don't know. I'm just trying. That's just what I want. And then the next part of the meditation was really to try to clear your mind and let your intuition come up. And I think that's something that we really aren't taught to do. And we're almost like, as a culture, we don't like the idea of that. Like, we want much more clinical approach. The idea of dreams or, you know, intuition guiding you. I guess it depends on who you talk to, but in my growing up and experience, most people are very woo woo about that. So I'm laying there, and in my ego mind, I am thinking of the things I want. I want to be riding my bicycle. I want to be. That was a big one for me. Like, I want in my future, in my healthy future that I imagine, I'm just riding my bicycle. I'm just doing my best to feel good every day. And, like, that's where I'm at. But what came to my intuition was this conscious knowledge of the amount of fear that I am holding and feeling about my potential loss of mobility. And the experience of that, just like kind of being so conscious of it, was very eye opening. And then I had sort of this feeling of letting that fear go. I mean, how do you let fear go? But really, what is there to be afraid of? We are all in these strange food meat bodies that are bound to fail. We are born into these bodies that are destined to fall apart and die. And we all are going to experience that. And a lot of us at some point are going to experience a lack of mobility and a lack of being able to care for ourselves. And that is a lot of people's greatest fear. And, you know, as I was letting this fear be and experiencing it, I felt that I could let it go. And this was last week. And even now, like, the fear is kind of back, you know, like it kind of came back. But I experienced letting that fear go. And what I was able to then replace it with was love and appreciation, compassion, and really love. And love for the people that may be the ones that will be caring for me. Instead of fear. And then it becomes really my fear isn't the lack of mobility. It's my fear is being a bitter, angry, dementia person who is difficult to care for. Because I'm gonna cry. Even if I'm so compromised and limited, I still want to bring joy and love, and I still desperately do not want to bring difficulty and onto the people I love. But focusing on that love, and what I realized in this meditation was that I can still bring joy and love to people, even if I'm so compromised and need their help, that I can still be a positive force for their lives, and that my life can still have meaning. I think it's true. I think it's true. Whew. Very emotional to think about this stuff. But that's my goal. That's my goal. Is to be a radiant, loving soul, no matter what happens to my body. And to be a blessing, even to the people who find themselves having to care for my physical body. I just wanted to share that and record it. And if you see this and it touches you, then I hope it helps. Thank you so much. Peace and love.